And it looked like new information has been revealed about Caitlin Clark's future contract with the Indiana Fever.
Women's basketball rules have already been rewritten by Caitlin Clark, but what if I told you that her rookie contract might be concealing a game-changing element? More than just numbers, the Indiana Fever have just leaked shocking new information about her future. It's a seismic shift for the WNBA. Could Clark break salary records and force the league to change its rules completely? This story isn't just about one player, it's about the WNBA's future. You'll see why Clark's deal is creating a stir by the end of this video. The sports world never stops telling when it comes to retaining Caitlin Clark on the Indiana Fever basketball team. The team is not wasting any time in making sure they check all the boxes. Her new contract is already in the works, dude. Unquestionably, Caitlin Clark has had a significant impact on the WNBA, and the Indiana Fever are under pressure to ensure her future with the franchise. It's no secret that her rookie pay of $76.55 is a small portion of her value, and the league is facing a reality it has never encountered before. Player who produces more revenue, buzz, and attention than all of the teams together. We know she's still on a rookie contract for the next few years, but I can tell you that I know for sure that the organization is working on a huge contract for Caitlin Clark's future contract dog. The numbers don't lie. Recent leaks from Fever's camp indicate they're working behind the scenes on a groundbreaking contract, but the worst part is that they're hitting a wall due to outdated league rules. Consider that Clark is in charge of 26% of all WNBA action this season. That a rookie right out of college is bringing in more than 25% of the league's revenue from her Rs, which is linked to 1 out of every 6 tickets sold in the WNBA. She's more than just a player, she is a phenomenon, and the Fever know they cannot afford to lose her. Since Caitlin Clark will ultimately be the one to approve or disapprove whatever solution they come up with, they must take all necessary steps to avoid this issue before it ever arises. Rumor has it that the Indiana Fever are drafting proposals, and together, they can do various things within the WNBA's regulations. For example, Caitlin Clark's new contract this season alone attracted over 300,000 people to their games, marking the first time a WNBA club has accomplished this feat. These figures aren't just statistics, they demonstrate that Clark isn't just playing basketball, she's also changing the game. Merchandise sales have increased by 500%, with Clark topping the charts and her jersey flying off the shelves faster than the league can restock. Additionally, viewership has increased by an astounding 300%, with 45% of those viewers tuning in specifically for Fever games. The goal of the entire game is to get Caitlin Clark's new contract completed, seal it, and secure the organization's future. However, the issue is that the WNBA's collective bargaining agreement, no matter how much Clark is worth, the existing CBA restricts what teams can offer and caps rookie salary. As a result, the organization is trapped with a system that was created long before a player of her caliber appeared. The most Clark might make is about $241,000, which is pennies in comparison to what she's bringing in. The league and Clark are aware of it, but the regulations haven't changed, so everyone is frantically looking for answers. According to the material that was leaked, the Fever is doing everything they can to keep Clark in Indianapolis. Innovative rewards, endorsement of performance bonuses, tie-ins, they're thinking about it, but even these attempts feel like Band-Aid solutions to a much larger wound. The league's pay structure is seriously flawed, and Clark's extraordinary success is revealing how out of date it really is. Not to mention the financial impact she's had on. Loon's presence alone has reportedly brought in an estimated $36 million for the city of Indianapolis, which is equivalent to hosting significant events like the NC Final Four. Not only is Clark curing the city, but she's also making less money than many entry-level corporate positions. This discrepancy is unavoidable and is igniting a long overdue discussion. When you contrast Clark's rookie contract, which was for $338,000 over 4 years, with the NBA's 2024 first selection, Victor Wanyama, it is absurd. In his first year alone, he is earning $13 million, which is almost 40 times what Clark will get on her rookie contract. The disparity is astounding, and it begs the crucial question of how the WNBA can hope to draw and keep elite players given the dearth of financial incentives. The CBA is scheduled to expire in 2025, giving the Fever a limited window to press for revisions that would allow them to offer Clark a contract. The Fever are apparently getting ready for a clash because they realize they'll have to go above and above to keep Clark, but the league's rules are getting in the way. Deserving of her efforts, but transformation takes time, and time is not on their side. The longer this goes on, the more likely it is that Clark will look for other options. Whether playing for a competing league abroad or maybe leaving the WNBA, completely the most astounding thing is the impact Clark has had. Her success isn't just about her, it's about what she stands for in the context of women's basketball. She has demonstrated that there is a market for this sport and that given the opportunity, fans will attend games and spend money, but if the league can't adjust to this new reality, she runs the risk of losing the momentum she's gained. Let's face it, this isn't just a WNBA issue, it's a sports issue and a social one. A question that goes right to the core of our appreciation for women's sports and the athletes who devote their life to them is how a player who has done so much for her league is still making less money than the typical American household. Since the Fever is in a critical situation, they must lock Clark in for the long run. Clark's narrative is a microcosm of a greater issue that requires quick care. However, they're constrained by a system that wasn't made for athletes like her. According to material that has been leaked, they're trying their hardest to find a solution, but until the WNBA is prepared to change its compensation structure, the chances are stacked against them. The next few years will be crucial not only for Clark's career, but also for the direction of the NBA. Will the league step up and adjust to the situation? The Fever may have a difficult time keeping their star players satisfied, and that is a risk they cannot afford to take. The stakes for the Indiana Fever and the WNBA could not be higher. Will it embrace this new era of women's basketball, or will it adhere to antiquated conventions and risk losing one of the greatest stars in history? Let's examine why this situation is so urgent. Caitlin Clark is not just a once-in-a-generation player. She is a walking brand, a marketing powerhouse, and a beacon of what women's basketball could become. However, given the league's current limitations, the question still stands, can the WNBA change swiftly enough to secure her future, or will it watch her slip through its fingers? It goes well beyond the court. We're talking about a player who has increased league-wide TV viewership by 300% on her own. Her games alone account for 45% of the WBA's broadcast value, and that's not just because she's a good basketball player. Her magnetic style, confidence, and unmistakable presence make her the kind of player that fans will pay to see. They're not just watching, they're purchasing her jersey, which routinely sells out and leads league merchandise sales by a wide margin. The Fever aren't just depending on her to win. In a league where financial difficulties are common, having a player like Clark is a lifeline. But here's the problem: they are depending on her to keep the team solvent. The NBA's collective bargaining agreement has limited their hands by capping salaries and restricting what teams can give even its most valuable players, so the Fever can't just open their wallets and write her a check for what she's truly worth. The information that has been released from Fever's camp shows how frantic they are to keep her safe. Rumors indicate that they are looking into every legal option to provide Clark with rewards to keep her on board, such as performance bonuses. Equity in the team support collaborations. Not only is Clark's situation a litmus test for the future of the WNBA, if the league can't figure out a way to pay its top players what they're worth, it risks losing them to rival leagues or overseas opportunities. All of these options are on the table, but even these might not be sufficient. The truth is that the league itself must intervene and alter its regulations if it hopes to keep a player of Clark's caliber. Prominent athletes like Diana Taurasi and Breanna Stewart have renownedly played in Europe and Asia during their off seasons, earning far more than their WNBA salary. The economic impact of Clark's presence cannot be overstated. Her rookie season has brought $36 million to the city of Indianapolis alone, which includes not only ticket sales, but also hotel reservations, restaurant revenue, and local business growth for a city like this. Clark hasn't ruled out these options, and you can bet that other leagues are keeping a close eye on this situation, ready to jump in if the Fever can't deliver. But losing Clark would be a severe blow to Indianapolis, which has always taken pleasure in being a center for sports. The WNBA and the Fever are aware of this. The league has an obligation to the communities it represents, as well as its teams. And keeping Clark in Indianapolis is essential to sustaining that momentum, despite the obstacles. Even after Clark's rookie contract expires, the highest pay she might receive is still $76.5535, according to the NBA's collective bargaining agreement, which is in effect until 2025. This is only $241,000 under the present regulations, which is a small amount compared to her market value. Although endorsement deals can help close the gap, they are insufficient to make up for her true value to the league, which is where the Fever tactic comes into play. Despite the limits of the existing CBA, the leaked sources indicate that they are already attempting to ensure a future. One suspected option is to offer Clark a revenue-sharing deal, which would be a revolutionary move for the WNBA, where she would earn a portion of the team's income. That might establish a standard for other groups and athletes, but even this notion is fraught with difficulties. Fever is also reportedly looking into the possibility of a long-term endorsement partnership tied directly to the team, which would allow them to compensate Clark indirectly by partnering with brands that align with her image. Revenue sharing agreements are notoriously difficult to negotiate and require buy-in from the league and its owners, a group that hasn't always been quick to embrace change. It's a creative solution, but it's not without risk for one party. It's predicated on the idea that brands will still find value in being associated with the Fever. This is a safe bet as long as Clark is around, but it is a risk if her star power ever wanes. Additionally, there is the issue of Clark's personal priorities. Although she has so far avoided much of the drama surrounding her contract situation and stayed focused on her game, she is aware of her value and her options, which include playing abroad, joining a rival league, or even taking a break from basketball to concentrate on her expanding portfolio of endorsement deals. Clark has the leverage.